Breaking news exclusively from Blue Eye Media.
And now from our global friendly partners at Midas Touch.
All hell is breaking loose on the streets and cities across the United States of America. These headlines are just from the past 48 hours. ICE arrests a 6-year-old boy with leukemia at immigration court. His family is suing. He was dead inside me for 3 days. Woman in ICE custody loses baby after begging for help. I begged the doctors, Iris says. I told them, please take me to the hospital. I don't feel well. I'm having contractions. Canadian citizen dies at Florida ICE detention facility. Johnny Noviello, 49, found unresponsive by staff at a Florida detention center. It's happening in the United States right now as masked ICE agents and those who are likely deputized as ICE agents are roaming the cities, beating people, attacking people, raiding homes and restaurants and Home Depot parking lots. They're going into courthouses and waiting outside and hiding in bushes. They're going into factories. Donald Trump has turned a militarized ICE against the citizens of the United States. I want to share these stories with you, and I don't want us to gloss over these atrocities with the platform that we have. Hat tip to Texas Public Radio for covering this story about how ICE arrested a 6-year-old boy with leukemia. A Honduran mother and her 2 children, ages 6 and 9, sued the Trump regime over their arrest at a Los Angeles immigration court, the first lawsuit challenging the arrests of children under a new ICE directive targeting courthouses. The mother brought her 2 children to the immigration court on May 29th, expecting to continue to make a case for asylum after fleeing Honduras because of threats of violence. But like many other immigrants across the country, they were surprised to see their case quickly dismissed as ICE agents waited for them to step out of the courthouse into the hallway. There were men waiting for them in civilian clothing. The ICE agents detained the family for many hours, and it was a terrifying time for the 2 children and their mother. They were crying in fear. One of the agents at one point lifted up his shirt, which displayed a gun that he was carrying. The 6-year-old boy was terrified to see the gun. He urinated on himself and wet all his clothing. No one offered him a change of clothing for many hours. The family was then transported to the Dilley Immigration Processing Center in Texas, where they had been detained for several weeks. The 6-year-old boy has been diagnosed with leukemia and has missed a medical appointment to be treated for worsening symptoms, according to the lawsuit filed Tuesday in a federal courthouse in San Antonio by the Immigration Rights Clinic and the Texas Civil Rights Project. Quote, the horrors that this family suffered should never be felt by a child in need of medical care. Arresting immigrants as they step out of a courtroom is a heinous display of disregard for humanity. This family came to the United States seeking safety, but inhumane policies are preventing them from seeking necessary medical care for their child. That from Kate Gibson Kumar, a staff attorney for the Texas Civil Rights Project. The next story. He was dead inside me for 3 days. Woman in ICE custody loses baby after begging for help. I begged the doctors. I told them, please take me to a hospital. I don't feel well. I'm having contractions. A Guatemalan mother detained by U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement ICE was forced to deliver her stillborn baby after reportedly being denied urgent medical care while in custody. Iris Diana Monteroso Limos, 38, had been transferred multiple times across U.S. states before arriving at Louisiana's Richwood Correctional Center, where she says her repeated pleas for help were ignored for days. Now back in Guatemala and separated from her partner and 6 children, Iris has spoken about the nightmare she endured. She talks about how the nightmare started when she was taken by ICE. Instead of returning to her family, she was transferred to multiple states, Illinois, Tennessee, Alabama, then Louisiana. Despite her conditions, she was 4 to 5 months pregnant. She was kept in very poor living conditions and claimed she was constantly hungry. Meals were often inedible, sometimes infested with cockroaches. As her pregnancy progressed, Iris began experiencing severe pain and requested medical help, but her concerns were repeatedly dismissed. I begged them, please take me to the hospital. I told them something was wrong, but no one listened. According to Monterosa Limas, she was never given a proper medical evaluation. Requests for an ultrasound were ignored. She says officials monitored her blood pressure and urine, but did not offer any prenatal care. She was given 12 different pills without explanation, which she believes worsened her conditions. Moving over to Canada, and this Canadian citizen here in the United States, in Florida, actually. The Canadian citizen dies at a Florida ICE detention center. It's the story of Johnny Noviella, 49, who died in custody of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE. He was pronounced dead June 23rd. He was found non-responsive by staff for the Bureau of Prisons Federal Detention Center. According to ICE, he entered the U.S. on January 2nd, 1988 with a valid visa and became a lawful permanent resident or green card holder on October 24th, 1991. It goes on to tell his story how on October 12th, 2023, he was convicted in Florida for racketeering, trafficking oxycodone, trafficking illegal drugs, and hydrocodone in an unlawful use of two-way communications to facilitate its sale. On May 15, 2025, he was sentenced to 12 months in prison. But then on May 15, 2025, he was arrested by ICE at a Florida Department Corrections Probation Office, issued a notice to appear, and charged with removability because of his crime. Under Trump's hardline immigration policies, ICE had been ordered to swiftly deport migrants who were charged or convicted of serious crimes. And it took him a very long time over here before his deportation actually took place, and then he died in custody. He's the 8th person to die in ICE custody so far in 2025. I want to share these scenes with you as well, and they are absolutely heartbreaking. And I want to give a shout out to these accounts here that you see, this account. A food vendor working outside of Home Depot in Ladera Heights on Monday, and this is in Los Angeles. She clung to a tree as unidentified masked agents attempt to detain her. Here, play this clip.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me, old man?
What you're doing is fucking illegal.
What you're doing is kidnapping. What you're doing is
What the fuck is wrong with you? Get the fuck back. Are you kidding me?
Tu nombre y tu cumpleaños.
Súbete.
They're kidnapping her.
They're fucking kidnapping her.
I couldn't see. They threw the flashbangs, but it was right here. And I was standing where the brick wall was, in front of the brick wall. And it got me immediately. And I had to run in the house and throw water on my face.
That chased her, yeah.
Can you describe her?
She was probably about 20 years old. Yeah.
This is a horrific story as ICE forced a U.S. Army Purple Heart veteran who was living in Hawaii for decades with his family. He took 2 bullets in combat, and they forced him to be deported to South Korea, where he really hadn't been his entire life. I mean, he literally was in the United States for decades, as I mentioned. Purple Heart veteran. He previously had drug addiction a while ago. He cleaned up his life. 48 years in the United States, has really no connection to South Korea, but was forced to leave his family. He's not going to be able to see his family ever again. Here, play this clip.
A Purple Heart veteran from Hawaii was deported this morning as part of President Trump's immigration crackdown.
Annalisa Burgos shares his story.
An emotional day for Sejun Park. After 48 years in the United States, the decorated Army veteran deported himself to South Korea. Some final hugs with his kids, parents, aunts, and friends, not knowing when he'll see them again. We caught up with Park before his flight.
this really kills me that I just have to drop everything and leave like this. They're being so supportive. They're all worried about me. They're like letting me know, oh, you'll be okay in Korea. I know I'll be okay. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about them.
Park moved to the U.S. when he was 7 and had legal permanent residency under a green card. At 19, he joined the Army and fought in Panama during the Noriega War in 1989. He was awarded a Purple Heart for his bravery.
I got shot in the spine with an AK-47, M16, my left lower back. So in my mind, I'm going, oh my God, I'm shot in the back. I can't feel my legs. I must be paralyzed.
Miraculously, his dog tag deflected the bullet aimed for his spine, saving his life. Park returned to his then home in Los Angeles, where he suffered from severe PTSD. He turned to marijuana to cope and moved to Hawaii in 1995 for a better lifestyle. But he became addicted to crack cocaine and struggled for years to get clean.
Drugs had a big control throughout my life, and that's what eventually got me into trouble with the law and everything.
In 2009, he was convicted for drug and bail offenses and served 2.5 years in prison. When he was released, ICE agents detained him and revoked his green card. He fought deportation in court and as a Purple Heart veteran was allowed to stay in the U.S. under deferred action as long as he checked in each year and stayed clean and sober. Park turned his life around. He became a loving father to his 2 children and cares for his aging parents.
These last 14 years have been great. I'm really proud of myself, proud of my kids, how I've been acting and how I've been living my life.
But this month, officials told him he had to leave the country or be detained and forcibly deported.
Took 2 bullets for this country. You're more American than most of the Americans living in America.
He was given an ankle monitor.
3 weeks to say goodbye to everybody. End your life here.
Everything, yeah. Let's say she gets married, I won't be there. Say my parents pass away, I won't be there at the funeral. Like so many things that I'll be missing. And for sure, things are gonna happen. I just can't be there, which is heartbreaking.
We have a veteran like Mr. Park who took a bullet for this country, who fought and swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, even though he wasn't a citizen of it.
Park's attorney says 38% of the U.S. military are non-citizens and believes thousands are being deported for non-violent crimes.
Now, here's another story right here. With ICE agents, 30 of them, barging into the home and actually arresting U.S. citizens as they were looking for his father because the father had a 2023 DUI. Let me show you what went down here. Let's play it.
My parents had been taken, and then that's when I broke down in tears.
Heavily armed federal agents delivering an early morning wake-up call to Kevin Robles and his little sister Raquel. They sent a drone inside and used flashbangs before entering the home themselves.
I never thought it was going to happen, especially to my family.
The agents were executing a sealed warrant for the arrest of their father, Arnoldo Robles, on one charge of being a deported alien in the U.S.
It was scary. Imagine just opening the door and getting received by 20 lasers pointed at you and all these rifles.
Their neighbor Ada Rocha watched it all unfold and says the firepower didn't match the threat.
I know you guys are doing your job. We all have a job, but there's ways of doing it. Why the necessity of breaking windows? Of bringing 30 plus armed people.
They ultimately led Robles, his wife Angelica Ortega, and their 2 teenagers out of the home in handcuffs.
My cuffs were tied to the mags, and I was telling them if they can loosen them, and they're just foul language, saying, oh, stop being a you can handle this.
Court records show Arnoldo Robles was convicted of a DUI in 2023 and was on probation. Kevin and Raquel, both U.S. citizens, were eventually released. Robles remains in federal custody, and Ortega is now in deportation proceedings.
They said they only came to get one person, but ended up taking both of them. How is there a way I can get in contact with my dad?
Here's a powerful story by CBS News Los Angeles about another U.S. citizen being abducted in broad daylight by ICE. Here, take a look at this story right here.
Ayúdenla, por favor. Ella es ciudadana, por favor.
She's a U.S. citizen.
Ella es ciudadana, por favor.
Those were the anguished cries of Andrea Velez's sister and mother as they watched her being detained by who they assume were immigration agents.
They didn't have a vest that said ICE or anything. Their cars didn't have license plates.
This video shows the 32-year-old U.S. citizen handcuffed and surrounded by officers as a growing crowd of protesters is yelling. Estrella Rosa says it happened mere seconds after they dropped her sister off in downtown Los Angeles. Nearby, an immigration enforcement was underway, but Velez, a Cal Poly Pomona grad, was headed to her office where she works in merchandising at a shoe company. Rosa says their mom had just pulled away when
from the rear mirror she saw that my sister was kind of like attacked from the back and she was already on the floor.
Because their mom has her residency but not her citizenship, they were terrified to get out of the car to help. A horrible dilemma documented by Rosas on her cell phone, who only dared to scream for help from inside.
Hey, you believe them? That's my sister. That's my sister. They're taking her.
An attorney told them Velez will likely be charged with a federal crime. Her family is worried she might have had the pepper spray she always carries in her hand when the agents came towards her. Witnesses say no one asked her for her ID, but they're really convinced it's nothing she did. Her mom saying,
El único error es su color.
The only thing wrong with her this morning was the color of her skin.
Just because of the color of our skin, they think that we're criminals. My sister was there, so they she looks Hispanic, so let's take her too.
They have not yet been able to find out where Velez is and are worried it could be days before they find her.
We really miss her. We hope that you could get back home soon so you could see your cat.
We reached out to immigration officials for their side of what happened. We also reached out asking how and if they are checking a person's status when they come into contact with them, and also asking how they are finding the people that they are detaining to begin with. We have not yet had a reply.
There are countless other stories like this. I could share dozens, but I want to use our platform to highlight those stories right here. All hell breaking loose in our cities as Donald Trump turns military, paramilitary against the United States. Fascist, Nazi-like tactics, Gestapo. Call it what it is. Here on the streets of the United States.
Follow Blue Eye Media for exclusive insights and breaking news sources from global-friendly outlets that you won't get from the mainstream TV and radio outlets of America. Learn how to play the flute of the globe and learn the real truth.